No, no, baby. Hi there. Me and Moonlight coming to visit. Say hi, Moonlight. She's so pretty. She's got little white hairs on her. I don't know if you can see them. She's gotten to where she wants to climb up on the table where the keyboard is, and that doesn't quite work unless she lays down, because if she sits, then of course I can't see the screen. Wonder what that's about. You know, everything has its own sort of message. Everything. I have a set of headphones sitting beside beside where I sit. And it's a bigger set, and it's got one of those curly cords. And she was taking to clawing at the cord and biting it and so on. And the only thing I use those headphones for is to enjoy the binaural beats in some meditation videos that I have from the Profound Meditation Program, I guess they're called. I don't remember anymore. Anyhow, I could clearly see the message that I wasn't using them, and it was a hint. What are these for? Why aren't you using them? So, you know, sometimes we may read more into something than is really there, but mostly not. Mostly zoom, you know, until we start self-observing, mostly things just go right over the head or into the head. Anyway, I have a journal for you. I'm enjoying my colors here, so I backed out a little bit so you could see the bright colors too. All right, so this is from January 8th, the first one of that day, and the Mayan day was 9 Flint. And it has 2 links, which you'll need to go click on the transcript in order to get the live links. And it's pretty cool. So it's been a while since I wrote it, and even right after it comes through, I don't necessarily know what it was. It's hard to describe or explain. So we're both listening to this together as if it was fresh. Don't know what I want to write about, or if it will even be a journal. Just know I feel the strong urge to write. What's going on? Don't really know. Just know what I'm sensing, how I'm changing, and the like. As I said in a recent journal, there was a shift of sorts for me on 12/21. Things have shifted, but it's too subtle to pin down yet. I just know, though, that it's a shift in the right direction, for the better. And I know we're enough alike that this must have happened to many, if not all of us. Those who didn't have the big expectations around that day are more likely to have perceived this more subtle shift. Did you? If you can call it, do share your impressions. If you can call it. Okay, go forward with feeling, my friends, with sensing. Let that be your major form of perception, at least now and then. Set thinking aside. It'll still work for you, it just doesn't go in the lead anymore. Things are definitely shifting from head to heart-centered living, and as you might guess, I'm loving this. Find your intuition. We all have it. It may help to get over the idea, the belief that you're a man or a woman. The body may be. You're not that. You're not limited to that. And further, our bodies are a blend of both. We each produce both testosterone and estrogen. It's a fact. Open up to such things. Go for balance. That's what I'm doing. More than maybe ever before, setting your intent toward finding and maintaining balance, even divine balance, is ideal for what's going on now. Do you see it? Balance is really cool too, to soften the down times. It softens the up times as well, but that's desirable too. We don't want to be attached. Now, why would that be? Why wouldn't you want to soar as high and as far as possible in your up experiences? Well, you know, maybe you do. And if so, go for that. But also consider, I mean, you know every coin in 3D anyway has two sides, right? So the balance for the super high experience is one equally low. Do you really desire that? They go together, you know. All that's between them is a bit of this illusory thing we call time. I think balance is better. That ultimate high experience has been used by many inadvertently to kind of mess up a lengthy chunk of their life. Now, first, everything else pales by comparison. That's easy to see. But beyond that, they focus years and years of their life chasing the experience. They'd give about anything just to live it again. They have this illusory idea that it can be made permanent. Now, do you see how that's a way to get frozen in the past? And meanwhile, what's happening to their now? They're not really present to it anymore. Now, I'm sure there are more things, but this is enough to paint the picture, to show the seldom presented downside of the great high. If you've lived it, well then, you know this. At some point, it's only obvious. But meanwhile, there went a chunk of your life. I don't know, and that's all illusory too, because time isn't what we think it is. But anyway, how do you talk without use of words and time? I mean, if every word I'm saying came out in a bundle, what would you hear? So we mess with time. Try singing the song of balance. At least check it out. In truth, it's actually divine. I mean, just consider the Tai Chi symbol, the yin-yang. Admire the beauty of its perfect divine balance. You could almost get infinite motion out of it, spinning it. It's a perfection. Or are you a skater? Think of the upright spin with balance, and then without it. Do you know anyone with bipolar disorder? Well, that is, if they haven't renamed it by now. That's what life looks like with the balance setting not working well. It's deeply challenging in so many ways, not an easy life to live. But remember, they chose that, or you did. I mean, you've got your reasons. Especially in the USA, we are not taught to value balance. Not much. It's all about succeeding, and the more wildly successful, the better. Makes for a good fairy tale, but not such a great life. Now, sure, a lot that's truly great has come out of this country. And I'm sure some of it wouldn't have if we revered balance overall more than material success. Still, the world could have done without a lot of those things. In the rush to succeed, many corners are cut, and so much more. How about we slow down a bit? How about we sink down into our middle, our central core, and take up daily deep breathing? I wonder at the difference just 2 or 3 deep breaths daily would make in the world. I think it would. You see, we all have a true inner genius. It's the very essence of our being, our own divine self, if you will. Yet, our own divine nature has no use for hurry or the ladder of success. These things are linear in 3D. This inner one knows quite well that we'll be taking not one bit of that with us to the other side. Well, I have a harsh comment to make just to draw the contrast. That success-seeking stuff, both the pursuit of it and the gaining of it, is more like a pacifier for a baby. It keeps us occupied while producing nothing of real or eternal worth. It also keeps us from truly finding the self, the inner divinity. Usually, I mean, you can't make any grandiose statements, any generalizations of any kind, really, because there's always going to be someone who's going to take the exact opposite path and do it well. So what is of real worth? How do you measure what's important to you? I hope you don't care about the world's standards for such things. I mean, your very own standards. What's important to you? Do you walk your talk? In other words, does the way you live your life display your deep values? Naturally, this all gets back to how each one defines the I, the self. Generally, you know, I'm not liking that word anymore. Often, those chasing success the hardest are those who identify with 3D, with the body-mind avatar. Not always, but pretty regularly. Uncovering true and lasting values and then organizing our life around them is also something that's not taught to many. Certainly not taught in school. It used to be. How many of you are old enough to have heard of the McGuffey readers? Originally, in the States, the whole reason for schools, the reason they were set up, was to teach kids how to read the Bible. Yeah. And the McGuffey readers have morality and values built in so that while the children were learning to read, they were also imbibing stories with morals and things. So we had it once upon a time. When laying out our values in the absence of any deep pondering or thought applied, everything looks pretty neutral. One thing can seem as good as another. It's all in what you want, right? Really? Well, a bit of yes, but mostly no. Now sure, we're all equal, we're all one. No problem with that, unless the mind gets a grip on it and tries to translate it into 3D. That's why it's really important to sense your way through these things. Sorry, fixing a typo. You can actually leave mind pretty much out of it. View it all from deep inside. I mean, heart just knows things. Mind thinks it does. Both heart and essence, or higher self, know very well what's important to you. They are that you. It takes going within, though, to uncover what might be. What that might be. What those values are. Who you really are. The powers that were have designed life on our planet to be a rush and hurry thing. They know that if we're allowed to be quiet and ponder much, we could connect up with our divinity. And frankly, that scares them shitless. So, if the powers that were want us hurrying around all the time, I suggest more and more of us decide to do the non-comply dance, to sit back and relax more. Let's slow this ride down a bit, at least long enough to connect up with the real self. Come from there. What say you? What difference could this make in your life? You are all gods and goddesses, little g of course, but who amongst us has yet figured this out? It's not enough even to come to agree with it mentally. We've got to go deeper, the kind of deep that's only possible when you take your power back and begin running your life your way. You know, for me, that includes a lot of daily quiet time. But even if only for 10 minutes. If it's important, you'll make room for it. Walk your talk. Okay, what kinds of things are important to me? Well, divine values and traits. Ring my chimes, light my fires. These things are eternal. That alone makes them worthy of their importance. Why chase fleeting things? What overall profit does that bring? If I can't take it with me into the next world, the other side, the higher dimensions, whatever we call it, then I don't see it as being important. And try that one on for size. You know, I'm not saying I know anything, much less everything, but I come here to share. Now, truth is at the top of my list. If you can't give me truth, I'm really not interested in you. And that means disagreeing with me when you think it's appropriate. That means thinking for yourself. I'm not always right. What's right anyway? I mean, right and wrong? Let's ditch those. Okay, truth shares that top place with a few others, such as unconditional love. You'd likely expect that one to be there, but this hasn't anything at all to do with what most humans have been taught to call love. Now, I suspect you know that too. You know, sometimes what people call love is biological desire. Another value is being true to, is valuing the self. When that's strong in you, you're fearless to make your own trail. You have no need to follow anyone else. Well, let's combine them. Let's set out to fall into real love with the self. Imagine that. Think of someone, some being that you love deeply. Be it a relative, a friend, a pet rock, I don't care. Think of someone or something you feel real love for and how you cherish that one and how you want to take care of them, to offer them the best. Look at those feelings and apply them to yourself. For most of us, they feel awkward. We've actually been taught not to love the self. We've been taught that that is selfish. And so there are some beliefs that need to be dug up there and nicer ones planted, huh? Okay, let's recognize the self's divine nature. its heavenly origin. And let's remember, it has nothing to do with blood and bone, though it loves them as well. Let's own the truth while we're at it, that absent this deep self-love, we have nothing to share with anyone else. You can't share what you don't have. The reality I have found is that you are that love. It's not something you have, something you give, or something you can lose. It's what the real you actually is. And it's not something you do either. It does you. When it comes over you, moistening your eyes with the overflow from the heart, you'll simply know it's divine. This is no human emotion. It's way beyond that. By giving ourselves maybe 30 minutes a day to just be quiet, I don't know, maybe even read something quite special, something that respects our divine nature, we'll come closer in toward heart. You don't have to sit formal meditation. Quiet time will do, and better yet if it's outdoors. Anytime I'm feeling a bit crazy or out of sorts, I like to go stand barefooted, ground the body on Mother Earth. It helps. You can even visualize dark shadows within as your load is what's bugging you, and you can even give them to Mother Earth. Send them down into the earth where they can be cleansed. She doesn't mind. Hey, you're her. We don't have to go develop wisdom, my friends. We can discover it within. Same for divine love, compassion, joy, and all the rest. These exist full-blown right inside. Getting there, I guess, is the big thing. Beyond that, there's no need to seek or try to learn these things. That's wrong-headed. In your essence, these are all quite natural to you. They're a part of your nature right now. Now, knowledge won't get you closer to any of this. If it's the sort of knowledge that relies on the left brain, then it's likely to just interfere. Why else would it be that so many sages have been content to know simply nothing? Get out of head to consider that, of course. It's a question for heart. What do they see in not knowing that seems to make them so content? Have you tried it out? Have you made any efforts to ditch your addiction to the brain's view of life? It's a radical shift. And chances are you'll be amazed. There's a level of divine peace underlying your life right now. Did you know that? Have you ever even tasted it? Have you ever been truly content? All of this is available to us in any now. Nothing needs to be developed or learned or sought externally. The kingdom is truly within. How could it be otherwise for a god or a goddess? Well then, why is it we don't go right in and claim it? That's what mind says. It doesn't work that way. One of the reasons the wise ones eventually admit they know nothing I guess Socrates is at the head of that list, is quite likely because they see through all of mind's knowledge, which, compared to heart, turns out to be quite shallow. It's all about the things that are ephemeral, that are passing. Nothing eternal. Quiet time. It takes setting aside time for what's important. If you want to take on the divine nature and live it, then you'll make a way. You'll carve out the time. You'll let some other things go, other interests. They'll just fade out of importance to you. Now, self-examination can actually be enjoyable when mind isn't in charge. Self-knowledge is the most precious kind. For me, the eternal verities, virtues, and divine design of things, these are delightful. They easily hold my attention. They're fun to ponder. A life path arranged like this, where the most important things are honored, bears beautiful fruit. You'll get to know the self, the divine one. In no time, you'll find the self being divinely danced. To others, it will look like you're doing or saying something, but you'll know better. You'll know it's not the human, the personality at work there. The embrace of the divine is hard to miss, my friends. It's not something that most people experience, yet it's available. None are excluded. Would you like to be an instrument of the divine right here while your feet still walk the planet? It's quite possible. We're all on our way into the no time. All of us are noticing how something has changed about time. Maybe time itself isn't running any faster than it ever did. Instead, what I see is us compressing more of life and living into the same amount of time. We're the ones intensifying here. All, simply all of our ideas around time are in for a very big shakeup, and soon. Once we see how time really works and how unlimited we are in it, oh, what a great time will be had by all. Once we find our way firmly into the now, we'll be well on our way. Find your way into heart and you step right out of time and space. It's like a portal. Every now, every minute, every second, these are our best treasures. Yet often we don't see this at all. Not until we directly experience our now from heart. I want us all to have that, the direct experience. No one can take that away from you. Set the time aside for yourself to explore there within. Let this be your way, one of the ways of loving you. When you have a lover, you want to spend time with them. Well, that lover is you, your own higher self. Make time for yourself. You are worth it. You are worthy. Find time to explore you. One thing's for sure, you'll be definitely taking you with you to the other side. It's something that will last, literally, forever. Namaste.